All right, let's start the new year out right. This is the January 21st, 2026 meeting of the Commission on Disability Issues, and we are starting right on time. And I'm trying to fill some shoes here, so give me a break. I'm trying to do the best I can, so let's get started. First of all, this meeting will be on channel 16 CTN or channel 99. And oh, all right. That's going too fast. I'll have to write down the phone number. Kennedy, could you read that off from the agenda? The top part of that to get us in.
The meeting number?
Yeah.
Yeah, so to join in,
note at the top.
Yeah, I got you, Larry. This meeting will be broadcasted live on CTN, cable channel 16, AT&T channel 99, or online at a2gov.org/watchctn. To speak at public comment, you can call toll free or enter the number meeting ID, and our staff liaison, which will me, will see your name appear or number appear, and will allot you the minutes and time to speak.
All right. Well, thank you. I'll write that down next time so it's quicker. But okay. So next would be roll call.
That is correct. All right. When I call your name, please say here and where you are calling from. Chair Keeler.
I am here from Ward 4 of Ward 5 Ann Arbor.
Okay. Vice Chair Damon.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Commissioners, Happy New Year. It's always a pleasure to be with you. Zach Damon, Vice Chairman, coming to you from Ann Arbor, Michigan, Washtenaw County.
Thank you. Commissioner Mozak is absent today. Commissioner Solomon.
Matthew Solomon, Commissioner, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Thank you. Commissioner Hawkins. Commissioner Gossage. Commissioner Packard. Oh, Rob, you have to unmute. It's okay.
Again, there it is. Here you go. Can you hear and see me now?
Yes.
All right. Back from California, here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Sunny, beautiful Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Buis.
Lori Buis, Commissioner, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Welcome. Good to see you, Commissioner. Commissioner Inkenbauer.
Hello, Commissioner Sam Inkenbauer here, calling in from Ann Arbor.
Thank you. And Commissioner Conrad.
Hello, Annika Conrad from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Wonderful. And Councilmember Aisha Ghazi-Edwin.
Hi, everyone. Councilmember Aisha Ghazi-Edwin from Ward 3 in Ann Arbor.
Thank you so much. And joining us today for presentations, we have Michelle Bennett and Jenna Trong. We also have Andrea Henry and Katie. I'm sorry how to pronounce your last name. Monkevich. Please correct me.
Oh, you did it.
Okay, good to know. Thank you so much. We also have Brett Linhart here with us as well. That's it, Larry.
All right, so we got a quorum. I'm guessing we got a quorum.
Yes, we have a quorum.
All right. Next, we have public comment according to this.
Yes.
So we got people on public comment?
We do. I am going to set a timer for 3 minutes. And I will first, I have someone who already has their hand raised, number ending in 326. Once I allow you to speak, if you could start by telling the commission your name, and then just let me know when you are ready to begin your 3 minutes of public comment. I think you are muted, number ending in 326. Hello?
Hello, my name is Jeff Crockett. Can you hear me now?
Yes, just let me know when you are ready, Jeff.
Oh, I am ready anytime.
Okay, your 3 minutes begins now.
Thank you. My wife and I have lived at 506 East Kingsley for 45 years. For my complete statement, please read the email I sent to the commission. First, thank you for your service and advocacy for people with disabilities. I'm a retired special educator, having served 45 years in the field, 37 of them in Plymouth Canton, and 8 as the Assistive Technology Coordinator for Northville Public Schools. My specialty was universal design for learning, making the curriculum accessible to students with disabilities. Until recently, I've been focused on improving language for historic districts and historic preservation. Michelle Bennett was very helpful in leading a CLUP workshop with Jill Thatcher in early March to help educate the historic preservation community. The result was the formation of the Ann Arbor Preservation Alliance. Recently, though, I've become deeply concerned that the needs of people with disabilities in Ann Arbor are being underserved in the current draft of the Comprehensive Land Use Plan. To learn more, I read all the minutes for the 8 CODI meetings were held in 2025. I found that the first mention of the club, from what I could tell, was on September 17th by Council Member Aisha Ghazi Edwin. She spoke on the club also on October 15th and December 17th. After reading the minutes and listening to 2 of the videos, I came up with 11 questions in my email to all of you, which I hope will be answered soon by CM Ghazi Edwin. What concerned me most of all was that you were all not adequately briefed on the potential impact of the club on people with disabilities much earlier in the club chronology. Why wasn't the presentation today offered in April or May? Why wasn't the club provided to all of you in a screen-readable, accessible format early on? Why weren't concerns expressed by this group on October 17th entered in the portal? Why hasn't there been outreach to seniors with mobility challenges and other disability issues? With the deadline rapidly approaching, we need to move quickly to incorporate accessibility language in the club. Please pay close attention to Donna Babcock and Brad Pitts. These are both seniors with disabilities. Donna's career was in industrial design and architecture. She offers a fresh perspective, researching what kind of housing design best serves people with disabilities and how to improve the club accessibility language. Please understand that our underlying motivation is to help make the club the best it can be for people with disabilities. We stand ready to help. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. All right, next.
And thank you for your comment. You're welcome to continue to listen to the meeting, but you can either exit or you won't be able to talk for the rest of the meeting.
Okay, next I have a number ending in 506. When I allow you to talk, if you could please state your name and then let me know when you're ready for your 3 minutes to start. Oh, there you go.
Hi, my
Hi.
name is Donna Babcock. I live at 1890 Upland Drive, across from North Campus.
Okay. Are you ready
I'd like
to
to
start?
say good afternoon. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'd like to say good afternoon to the commissioners and thank you for your advocacy for the disability community. I am an industrial designer and I've had a lot of extensive experience in the built environment, and then of course several years in automotive. But I had to learn everything about human factors for both areas. And this one is just the built environment. I did forward to you some information that I thought would help visually let you see the problem here. The Rathmore Lane elevation that you see is a very nice, attractive 4-story single-family structure. But you will also notice that I sent the plan views, and you can see, looking at them, those 4 stairways would be very difficult to adapt. Very, very complicated, very expensive. There are other issues, but this is the main thing. This was built in 2017. This is definitely what you're seeing starting to flood the city, this sort of thing. And so I'm very, very concerned because there's no attempt to even try to make even a few of the units accessible. It would be nice to have it in universal design as they promote, have them built from the beginning with all of the accessibility that's necessary. The other packet that I sent you was, besides the timeline of the actual Americans with Disability Act, how it came about, I sent you a few photos. I'm very sorry about how quickly I took those, but I gave you a background on Colonial Square Cooperative and the one-bedroom floor plan, which is basically their accessible unit. So if you have those materials in front of you, you'll see. Colonial Square was built in 1964, and this is very progressive. Not only were they building affordable housing, they were building accessible housing scattered out throughout all the 400 and some units that they have. They have single-story accessible units, and the paths at both the front and rear entrance are at grade level. If necessary, they can be fitted up with ramps, and you will see that throughout the community. They also, over the years, people can adapt their interiors. So they've been able to take out walls, fit up these bathrooms with the more flexible fixtures, depending
Seconds
on
left.
the level. Pardon?
30 seconds left.
Oh, okay. At any rate, I hope you will realize that the comprehensive land use plan is an enabling document. If you send this, it will become law. If it doesn't accommodate some proactive information about building for disabilities. And the developers will be able to build whatever they want by right. The city will not be able to intervene. And it will also,
That is time.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for your time and your comment. And you can also sit and listen to the meeting, but you won't be able to talk, or you can exit and do what you need to do. And thanks again. I've read both of your documents, and I'm sure I'll reread them. Thank you. Next is approval of the agenda.
We have one more person on, Larry, for public comment. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
I thought we only had two. Sorry.
Nope. Another
Okay,
person
well,
popped up.
let them in.
Okay, so we have someone with the last digits 675. I will allow you to talk once I do, if you are able to verify your name, and just let me know when you're ready for your public comment to start.
Hi, Brad Pritz here from 3030 Lexington in Ann Arbor. Hello to all of you, and a thank you especially to the commission volunteers. I know you don't get paid for this, and I appreciate your long-term commitment to making our city a better place. I've been following the comprehensive plan for some years now, and Planner Bennett, who you'll hear from later, as well as Manager Leonard, have already politely put up with my nonsense and mumblings on several occasions and graciously accepted input. My key concern, we have Ann Arbor for All. That's the title of the plan. I am sure that everyone on this commission supports that goal, or you wouldn't be here in this commission. But we are in a process of doing a goal of accommodating many more people, perhaps as many as 50,000 more residents over the time frame. We may make things more difficult for folks like me who have mobility issues, because many aspects of this plan intentionally make vehicle travel difficult. Now, we have a goal of reducing vehicle miles traveled citywide. I understand that. But if you take away my mobility and substitute a walkable neighborhood, you've built a wall that keeps me out. So please take that into account. You know, reducing handicap parking spaces, and there even for some reason is a almost obsession to get rid of drive-throughs, which is not just in this plan but elsewhere in, say, the TC1 zoning. So please, if we want to provide carrots, that's great, but let's not put in sticks. And as I've said before, yes, this will take some time, but Stephen Schwartz, the composer of Wicked and Godspell, had a wonderful line from a different show. There is no journey gone so far that you cannot stop and change direction. Thank you.
Okay, and at this time, I do not see anyone else on for public comment. So, Larry, I will let you take it away.
Well, and thank you for that comment. And as always, you can stay on and listen to the meeting, but you'll be unable to speak, or you can go do your own thing. So next is our approval of agenda. And so if somebody would like to move to approve, or
This is Zach. I'll move.
whatever, we can. Any second?
I will second that, Zach and Larry. This is Rob.
Discussion? Yeah, any discussion? Seeing no discussion, I would call for the vote. Raise your hand or say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, agenda is approved. Now the next thing is we could approve minutes for the December 17th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, Larry.
Okay. A second? Well, I normally don't think that I can technically make seconds, but I
will second that as well, Larry.
Okay, thank you. And any discussion? Okay, we'll call it. Anybody are all in favor of approving our agenda? Signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Or raising your hand.
Aye.
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 Unfortunately, you're going to read. I'm listening to my screen reader as I go on for the agenda. So if you
I
hear,
can read it for you, Larry, if you
Oh,
want.
you're good.
yeah. Well, no, I'm reading it on my computer.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Commissioner Edwin, Commissioner Ghazni, City Councilwoman Ghazni.
Oh, next is city personnel report.
Personnel. Oh, that's you, ain't it?
Yes,
I got it mixed up. Yeah, I get it mixed up. That's you. Okay, go ahead, Miss Kennedy. City Council report or city
personnel. It's okay.
Personnel
Larry.
report. Yeah, the tongue twisted. It'll be better.
Gotcha.
As
Thank
I grow into these shoes.
Larry,
Alright.
you're doing great. Don't worry.
Yeah, you're doing great. Hey everybody. I hope you all have been doing well. Welcome back. The only update, I don't know if you guys can see me. Can you hear me?
Nothing.
Oh, there I am. The only update that I have for you all is that our CODI contact sheet is still up to date. The only thing I am missing 2 commissioners who did not provide me with their numbers. So Commissioner Solomon and Commissioner Conrad, if you all are able to shoot me a separate email with you all's contact information, that'd be great. Everyone else who did, I have received it. The only thing I need to know is everyone's preferred preference. And instead of emailing that out to you all, I just thought I might as well go ahead and ask you all that since you all are here. So, Chair Keeler, your preferred contact method, would you like email or text or call?
Email's probably better. Email's good, and I can call or I can text.
Thank you. Chair Damon, I have your preferred method as text. Can you confirm?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Commissioner Mozak is not here. Commissioner Solomon, once I do have your contact information, I do have your email already. I don't have your phone number. Is there a preferred way you would like to be reached?
Email is great. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Commissioner Hawkins is not here yet, but I have both of hers and her preferred method. Commissioner Packard, text, email, or call.
Yes. Just a sec here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, good. All right. Yeah, text is fine, but if that doesn't work for any reason, you're always welcome to email or call,
Gotcha. Thank you
whatever
so
works best for
much.
you all.
Commissioner Gossage, text, email, or call.
Email first, text is fine as well, though, if you can't get me through email.
Thank you. Commissioner Buis, text, email, or call.
Email first, text second, call last.
Sounds good. Commissioner Ankenbauer, text, email, or call.
Oh, email's fine, and then text would be next. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Conrad, I don't have, I have your email. I don't have your phone, so I'll look for that. But do you have a preferred method at this time?
Email, thanks.
Okay. And last but not least, Councilmember Ghazi Edwin, I have your contact information. I just need to know text, call, or email.
I think text, email, then call.
Sounds good. Okay. Thank you all for that. Vice Chair Damon, you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Kennedy. I just wanted to let you know, Commissioner Hawkins did send us an email. She is unable to attend today. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Awesome. So that is all I have for us today. Thank you all so much for verifying that. And then once I receive the last contact information from the commissioners, I will send out a finalized contact list. But that is all I have for you guys at the beginning of the new year.
All right, now it's time for the council update. Was Aisha Goslet with you? Council.
Thank you, Larry.
I don't know why my tongue is twisting, but
no, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Thank you, Larry. So, thank you. First, I just want to start out by saying thank you to Jeff Crockett and others for being here tonight. I think it is essential that we have individuals with lived experience or people with disabilities actually being present and part of these conversations and giving their input. I think, I want to acknowledge that accessibility concerns that are being raised are valid, these concerns about the club. And it is an issue that I've been actively working on with several CODI commissioners over the last 4 to 5 months. I think if minutes reflect that it, was first brought up in September, I actually began working with Commissioner Annika Conrad in early August. And I reached out to other commissioners as well, and we, received some feedback and began to look over the plan and see areas that it could be strengthened. Since mid last year, we did have city planners Michelle Bennett and Brett Leonard also come to CODI and talk about the comprehensive land use plan. During that discussion, I think, a number of concerns did emerge, particularly that we didn't feel that accessible design was explicitly included. And also that CODI felt like, we hadn't been adequately consulted during the process. So, in response to some of these concerns, at the end of November, I drafted a resolution proposing amendments to the club, specifically to strengthen accessibility and universal design. It also included housing stability and homelessness. And I shared that with Commissioners Annika Conrad, former Chair Zach Damon, Commissioner Alex Gossage, and I also sent it to planning staff, so Brett Leonard and Michelle, in early December. And many of the concerns in that resolution, are the same ones that are being shared here right now. And in early December, staff provided a memo explaining that while they agreed with the intent, that some of what was being proposed, they felt had already been incorporated directly into the club. Well, they felt like, it could not be directly incorporated into the club because the club doesn't, it's a strategic kind of visioning document. And they felt like instead, some of those things could be addressed during the implementation phase, which is during zoning or ordinance updates, transportation planning, capital investments, and then they did speak to places where universal design was mentioned. I shared that memo with CODI members. But, I guess I want to be clear that, I don't believe that this should be the end of the conversation. And I feel like we need to continue pushing for accessibility to be prominent in the plan during implementation. And yeah, I hope that helps to clarify what was mentioned, but I do agree that there are some concerns that I think we can continue to address together.
Well, I would agree with that.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Conrad. I'll jump in and say just thank you to Aisha for kind of summarizing all the conversations we've had and the efforts you put together to respond to them and share them with planning. I hear that kind of the response from planning was that there's this distinction between, what goes in the vision document and what goes into implementation. And definitely I, support folding accessibility into the implementation, but I just wonder if accessibility feels like it's not a substantial component of the vision for the plan, will it ultimately be implemented in a way that isn't as capacious or comprehensive, or doesn't necessarily view accessibility as kind of part of the thinking behind the planning process, but instead as kind of mere compliance with ADA. So I think that's the part of the concern is kind of that accessibility has been lost in creating the vision, and there may be implications for that down the road.
Thank you. I see Michelle and Brett with your hand up. Whoever would like to go first.
Yeah. I'd be happy to.
Is this consistent with the rules of engagement within
All right.
Robert's rules?
Am I less echoey now?
Sorry, is this just, I want to
Awesome.
stick to procedure in terms of.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you very much for
Am I
having
not,
us.
am I just?
I'm
like,
Brett Leonard. I'm
am I
the
just
planning manager.
Hold on.
Just 1 second.
Hold on.
Yes.
If unless there are any other questions, their report is
Are you able
next.
Can I get some sort of feedback that you can hear me okay?
And their report is next. So if they want to wait to address that for 1 minute and let others bring up questions, because they're going to talk in just a minute.
Chair Damon, you have your hand up.
Hi, yes. I just wanted to say, first of all, Brett, we can hear you. There is just a bit of a delay when you unmute. So just I would wait a few moments just so that there's no lag there and no one is talking over one another. And then finally, I just wanted to commend Commissioner Conrad, Commissioner Gossage, and Councilmember Edwin for looping us in on the processes here with the culp. But I do support Commissioner Conrad in her statement, as well as Councilmember Edwin in their support that yes, there needs to be a loop in here to make sure that accessibility is paramount in this particular endeavor. Thank you.
No problem. Councilmember Aisha Gatti Edwin, was that the end of your report?
I mean, yes, I wanted to share what has been done.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. Does anybody on the commission at this time have any questions or concerns regarding council members' report? Commissioner Solomon, I see your hand up.
Yeah, so, appreciate the advocacy and I appreciate the work of Commissioner Conrad in consulting, but I think I keep coming back to the question of why we were not consulted more early in the process, again, outside of the efforts of Commissioner Ghazi Edwin, who was sort of serving as this kind of go-between liaison role. Like, why were we not consulted earlier? It just feels like a pattern where the commission gets to hear about things when things are already decided. And this feels like yet another example of that. Why weren't we consulted earlier?
Councilmember Aisha, are you able to answer that for Commissioner Solomon?
I mean, I agree. I think that, I think that there may have been some efforts from city planning with the commission. I think that there was a presentation, and then I think also then, commissioners rightfully kind of felt like we were not being engaged at a time where a change could be made. Um, so I hear what you're saying, and I also have seen city planning try to reach out. I also think, with the disability justice kind of mantra of like nothing about us without us. So, sitting here and trying to like serve as the go-between, I can understand how you all have felt. And I've also seen planning staff try. Um, so yeah.
Commissioner Solomon, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I think because Commissioner Ghazi Edwin has the floor at this moment. Um, as we all know, there's a movement in the community to pause the plan. And so I would ask, does this constitute reason to support pausing the plan? And I think I've spoken to Commissioner Ghazi Edwin directly, informally, candidly about this. But I think this is a phrase that is being heard in our community. It's being heard from our citizens who got exactly 9 minutes to speak. So is this not reason to pause the plan?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the question. I think that from my belief, I don't think that this is justification to pause the plan. I mean, the comprehensive land use plan is really a strategic visioning doc that we're required to do by the state of Michigan. It also was founded in principles where we are trying to rectify years of exclusionary zoning that has made it more difficult to build what we need, where we need it. And because of that, it's made housing more expensive for all of us and also inaccessible for all of us. We've not been able to put in the accommodations that we need. We've not been able to build variations of type of housing that would otherwise accommodate people in certain areas of the city. So fundamentally, no, I think that what we do need to have is going forward during the implementation phase, when we talk about zoning, I do hope that CODI and people with lived experience and diverse range of disabilities, invisible, visible disabilities are there to help inform that, are consulted. And that, one thing CODI could do is we could help to uplift when community input is asked around zoning. We can help really spread the word and say, people with disabilities, please show up and show out if you live in X area. So I unfortunately think that some of, what paused the plan is,
Commissioner,
I'm sorry, can you hear me? Some of what paused the plan is kind of basing their narrative on. It's kind of it's to me, it's a feeling that housing and neighborhoods would fundamentally change. And I think people don't mean this intentionally, but what will happen is people who already work here won't be able to live here, and that housing will get more expensive for all of us because we're not adding to the supply. So that's my belief on the comprehensive land use plan and this question.
Commissioner Solomon?
I think I share the concerns of others at this meeting who have spoken before, which is just hoping that something will happen in the future is problematic versus getting it embedded in the language of this document. And that's where I think a rewrite or some strategic revisions are called for. So unfortunately, we have a history of being promised things that are not forthcoming. And there are many problematic areas of this document which have been flagged not only by the commission on repeated occasions, but by our citizens who have taken it upon themselves to join this meeting. And again, that phrase we can set aside, that alliteration we can set aside, but I think some revisions are called for. And the idea that we should just cross our fingers and hope that the future of our city is going to deliver on accessibility is a problem, right? If we have a limitation of handicap spaces, if we have a limitation of accessible housing, if we have developers who are basically given too much leeway on whether they choose to or choose not to include universal design, accessible housing within their plans. And that's where I think, again, even if you set aside that alliteration, it's time for revisions. And whatever the timeline that folks want to push this through on, it's not worth doing over the bodies of people who have access and mobility issues. We could start with parking. We could start with the privileging of bicycling, which is, by the way, not accessible transportation. Walking, not necessarily accessible transportation for everybody. So I think I have an issue with this idea that we should put our hopes and trust in a document that frankly doesn't represent our concerns right now. So let's revise it.
Thank you for sharing that, and I understand your concerns. And I do think that some of what you mentioned is reflected in the comprehensive land use plan. And I don't think that, everything, for example, some specificity around parking, accessible parking spaces, could be incorporated into the plan. But I think this is a good time to hear from Brett Leonard and Michelle Bennett in answering questions about telling us what is in the plan in regards to accessibility and disability.
Before we do that, I just want to ask, is there any other commissioner at this time who has any comment or question under Councilmember Aisha's report?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Packard.
Oh yeah, it sounds like from what I'm hearing, you're saying that down the road, these can be incorporated, and also a desire to have it put in writing now, and how much of that, if it's not in the plan, can be incorporated later. So that's, I guess, a question that I have, or if you would like maybe a document from us summarizing the concerns to add to the document as it is now. But thanks for all the input, and I'm happy to listen to what's ahead. Thank you.
If there are no other questions, go ahead.
Could I respond to that comment? Chair Keeler.
Yeah.
So in regards to what is in the plan, so universal design is explicitly named in housing, and the need for, and I'm reading this from the staff memo, barrier-free, adaptable, visitable housing for residents. There is like an implementation matrix that includes incentivizing accessible housing design. Around accessibility and affordability, the plan emphasizes, supply and diversity of housing types citywide. So in regards to disability, accessibility is mentioned around universal design and all abilities planning. I think ADA was not referenced specifically. Mr. Leonard and Michelle, let me know. And to be completely honest, I think ADA often in the disability movement, it restricts us. I think it's the floor, or it shouldn't be the ceiling. I think it's the floor. And then let me see what else we have around transportation accessibility is also addressed. There's the all ages and abilities framework around our transportation plan for the city. So, this is not me sitting here and saying that everything that I would have liked to see is in this document, right? That's why I wrote that resolution. However, I also learned information from planning staff that some of what I was asking for belonged in a different part of the process. And I do hear you, Commissioner Solomon, that, it feels like we are putting faith in something that maybe it doesn't pan out. I think that some of the questions that we can ask Mr. Leonard and Mrs. Bennett is just about the implementation process and how we can guarantee that the perspectives of people with disabilities of CODI is integrated and involved. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. And I do understand and appreciate where you're coming from and where others are.
Thank you so much, Council Member Edwin. Chair Keeler, I would love to continue to have discourse on this important topic, but we do have to keep things moving.
Well,
so, if we may.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking since they're next on the list, we ought to talk to them.
Their arms are getting
so
tired.
My digital hands.
So for the comprehensive land use program, who are you guys?
We have Michelle Bennett, we have Brett
Michelle Bennett, yes.
and we have Jenna Trump.
Yes.
We will let Brett
Oh,
and
okay, I
Michelle
didn't
go
see
first.
Brett's name up there.
We'll let Michelle and
So-
Brett go first, and then Jenna, once they finish, we will allow you to present, and you all have access to share your screen, so feel free to do that at any time.
All right. Well, thank you again for having us. I really appreciate the conversation. I'll address a few things, and I'm not providing this as in any way of an excuse. I will be honest, as the planning manager, I'm always trying to do better. I'm always trying to learn better. And so I'm not going to provide any of this as sort of refuting anything, but I do want to contextualize some of the process that we've gone through to date. One, as far as consultation with this board, we did come at one point last year, but I do want to be clear that this plan is focused much on community participation. I work with a lot of boards, commissions, and I really respect the work that you do and advocates for the community and for the city. You are in service to the city. But we have spent a lot of our time focusing on talking to the public broadly. We've tried to find different ways to do that, different formats, different accesses. We emphasize more of that aspect of our conversations than just going to boards and commissions across the city. That's a similar thing to other boards and commissions. We've had Energy and Environmental Commission and other boards in the past. So please don't take it as that we are trying to in any way sort of skirt the issue, but rather the plan is a policy document, and at its core, it is based in our conversations with the community. What are our community desires? What are our goals? And as Councilmember Ghazi Edwin indicated, I agree. This plan is not, if I had autonomy to draft this plan, this is not the plan I would draft either. This is the process, the policy document that comes out of frankly, at times, a messy process with a lot of perspectives in our community of varying perspectives. And so that's how we get to where we are today with that. As far as specifically with advocacy for disability issues or the like, I would honestly have to go back. But as part of our steering committee, we actually had a couple of members that identified as having disabilities. We also had a series of focus group. One was about equity. I believe we had invited some representatives to that. I would have to go back. Maybe just attendance didn't work out or anything, but we did try to make sure that we were reaching out to those, to a wide diversity. We also had focus groups on affordability, on sustainability, and natural features. Thank you, Michelle. Planning, whether it's this comp plan or other things, is complex, right? We were talking a little bit here about transportation, and I want to be clear. The city is not trying to get rid of vehicular transportation, but I will say that over the past probably 70, 80 years, we have invested more in vehicular transportation than we have in multimodal manners of transportation. And having choice for flexibility, that it's absolutely true. A bike network is not going to work for everybody, but there are also people that a vehicle network is not going to work for. There's also people that are everybody needs often some sort of pedestrian or safe pedestrian for the last leg of travel. And so whether it's our Vision Zero plan or this comp plan, we recognize that there is no one size fits all. Bikes will not be the solution for our community, but we can advance choices and flexibility for everybody by providing more networks, more possibilities for people to have agency and flexibility in how they get to and around our community. As far as Councilmember Ghazi Edwin's suggestions, I do want to address those. There were some changes that came out of those. I think they were particularly around unhoused population, if I recall. But one of the challenges, and one of the public speakers, Mr. Pritz referenced this, and he is so kind. That's part of this process. We listen to everybody. But he talked about incentives, the carrots versus the sticks. And accessibility, particularly as it relates to housing, which is a big focus of this plan, is really important to the conversation. Because here in the state of Michigan, as all of you may or may not be aware, our hands are bound in many ways about what we can require as to how our community gets built. We can do things in the city that the state enables us to do. And as it relates to building and constructing accessible units, the state adopts the code that we have to follow. We don't have agency to require a higher standard than what that building code requires. People can choose to do it. So if the floor is X, people can go above that. But we don't have the ability to say, we reject your building permit because it's only meeting the floor. By law, we have to do that. And so that's why specifically this plan challenges us to use incentives or carrots to find the ways that we can cultivate a higher, more improved level of accessibility for everybody, for all in our community. The good news is that building codes are designed to meet the building codes that the state of Michigan provides to us to follow sets a floor. And that floor is based on American with Disabilities Act. It's based on fair housing requirements, and it applies at different scales. One of the interesting things that has happened in the last probably decades, as we have seen more and more higher rise construction happening in the city than the previous decades, is that we are getting a lot more specifically type B accessible units. These are units where the design, the layout, the spacing provides a lot of flexibility for a wide variety of users. Basically, any building that you're seeing built being downtown is all minimum type B units. A quick survey of projects that are under construction now. This isn't comprehensive. This is just kind of as far as I got for about 45 minutes of research today. Projects under construction right now, we have of the projects I looked at, they represent about 1,200 total new housing units. 1,229 of the 1,271 are type B, and about 38 are type A, which is a higher level of accessibility. And so one of the great things is that despite our limitations with the Michigan Building Code has gone and made strides over the last iterations of that code to provide more and more flexibility for the units that are being built to be accessible or adaptable to people based on their individual needs. But we don't have to live with that. That's exactly why our comprehensive plan does say, let's look for opportunities where we can incentivize a higher level of that. How that implementation is going to work, that's the process that we're starting to figure out now. This plan is not even adopted. It is not an enabling law, but it is a policy document. So whether you talk to people, somebody mentioned pause the plan that says, oppose rezoning your neighborhood. I want to be clear. This plan doesn't change any single law in the city of Ann Arbor. It doesn't change any regulation. It doesn't change any zoning district. But honestly, it does call for us to do the work to start changing our codes, to start changing zoning, to realize the vision that this comprehensive plan sets forth. So there's work ahead. And the way that's going to work is through pieces. We're going to go through that implementation table. We're going to have to figure out what are the zoning districts that we have in place right now? Do those meet our goals? Do we need new zoning districts? And then for all of those things, we're going to have to get into the details about how we advance those. And I appreciate the fact that this plan, to my knowledge, the first of our land use planning documents that sort of elevates accessibility issues to a similar level as sustainability or affordability has been in the past. But in similar ways, we can't just require 10 out of every 100 units to be affordable. We can't exceed the minimum building code requirements for accessibility either. So we have to find the carrots or the levers where we can frankly give something to a project or a developer or a property owner in exchange for them going above and beyond the minimum base requirements that would otherwise apply. So that's an overview of sort of how we got to where we are as far as the work ahead. From a more detailed perspective, that work ahead, any law change has to be approved by the city council. And because it's zoning related, it also goes through our planning commission. What that means is it's going to be a combination of staff and consultants consulting with members of the community. There might be meetings, there might be reaching out to the Disability Commission, there might be reaching out to the Transportation Commission, there might be reaching out to the Sustainability Commission. And we're going to be putting together our recommended approach as to how we start following up with that policy document with the laws that are going to enact and require the outcomes that we desire to see. Those are ultimately presented to the Planning Commission, who makes recommendations with a public hearing, of course, and then those ultimately go to the city council, as the city council is the only entity in this community that has the ability to change law. So they are the ultimate arbiter. But by the time they get to those, they have been through consultation, they've been through best practice analysis, they've been through stress testing, frankly, at times, both with developers and community members and boards and commissions and advocacy groups. And so by the time they get to that point, they're hopefully fully formed. But again, still another time for access and comment on them at that time before they become law. After that, at that time, only then is where it becomes law. So at that point, if we are able to find the incentive that the carrot that provides something in exchange for a property or a builder to go above and beyond the base level required by code, that's the code that's going to provide and lay that out so people know what to expect and what they will get for what they give. So that's just an overview of the plan. I think Michelle is going to take a minute to talk through some of the other feedback that we've gotten from advocates around accessibility. And I want to be honest, you're going to see some things that I think we should have done better in the past, and we're going to do better in the future, and some steps that we're going to be taking, for example, immediately after this plan. So Michelle, maybe you could run through those. And then again, if you have any questions about after this, happy to address them.
Okay, can you all hear me okay?
I can.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Michelle. Good afternoon.
Hi, I also just wanted to add to that about the draft resolution that was brought to us, and an important distinction is Brett was talking about kind of private property building code zoning. There were some suggestions in the resolution that were referring to the right of way of how to make it easier to move through the city. Planning in general deals more with regulations for private property. All of the guidelines that we have for right-of-ways, for making our streets, our sidewalks, our trails more accessible, are handled in the transportation plan, and that is a part of our comp plan. We will be working with transportation planners regarding that. They already have a plan that lays out how they're going to make that network more accessible over time. And so that's another reason we had suggested, or we had said, like, a lot of this has already been discussed and documented in another public plan that we have. So with that, I'm going to just actually move to what I was asked to present on tonight. So as a little bit of background, the first draft of the comprehensive land use plan was issued in early April, I think the first week of April. As a part of that, I sent it to all of the commissions, and there were about 4 that asked me to come, and CODI was one of them. So I attended a CODI meeting on April 30th, and
The discussion that night, and that's what I'm going to share here, was primarily about readability of the document. With this commission, we did not really talk about the content of the plan. What was brought to me was how to make this plan more readable. So I have a few slides that are in your packet that will discuss some of the changes that we have made. So let me share this screen. And are you all seeing this okay?
Yes, Commissioner Damon, you have your hand up.
This is what we'll be going over. I added some links. So this is our project page. All of the drafts are posted there. So by April 30th, when I came, it was still just draft 1. And so I posted the link here to draft 1 and draft 3. So you can do a comparison if you open both of them about some of the changes that were made. But again, what we had primarily discussed was how to improve readability, usability, and inclusive design from the 30th. So I'm just going to go through some of the edits that were asked of us, what we've done, and then, like Brett mentioned, maybe some areas where we have fallen short or need to investigate more, and I will highlight those as well. So here's what was presented in terms of readability, a sans serif font, and sizing, so that the minimum font sizes are no smaller than 11, and that's throughout the document, unless it's like a source at the very bottom of the page. And then fonts get bigger as they become headers or title pages. There were some color contrast issues in the first draft. Primarily, we were having kind of black font with like a green or blue background that wasn't as readable. So all of those fonts were changed to white to improve contrast. And there was also a remark about how some of our underlining was overlapping with the text. So that was moved. There are still some areas that have underline, but they are no longer kind of covering some of the text. So this is an area where I think we can talk about the final draft. After the first draft, it was brought to our attention there were some readability issues, that it's not screen reader friendly. We created a simplified Word document and shared that for some viewers. But I do think there's room for our final draft. We've been in discussion with Jenna, who's our accessibility coordinator, about looking at quotes to figure out how our final draft could be improved to be screen reader friendly, or at least provide all of the alternative text that is necessary for maps and graphics and things like that. So that is still something that we are looking into that will require extra budget, but that's something that we could request. There were some comments about graphics. These cartoon graphics that are in the first draft have all been removed. We do use icons throughout the document, especially when it comes to our core values of affordability, equity, sustainability, and dynamism. So those are on all of the title pages repeatedly as a way to convey these ideas. There was a graphic on page 6 and 7 that was frankly difficult for everyone to read. And so there was specific comments about that. And so that graphic has been revised greatly. It had multiple colored lines running across the page, and we have simplified that to just 2 colors. Those are on pages 6 and 7. And then there were some more comments specifically about graphics. Those have also been removed. This is, again, what I was talking about, how I think we could request additional funding to have alternative text placed behind maps, charts, and diagrams for people that are using screen readers. And so these are the general takeaways from all of the comments, that there needs to be a better accessibility check of the document, which we are happy to do. There are also new requirements coming out in April, I believe, that or new guidelines that are coming out about document accessibility in April that we can incorporate as a planning team for documents going forward. The information density remains high. I understand that. that's been a balancing act because as we've been editing the process publicly with the Planning Commission, more and more things keep getting added. And so there has been a balance of, well, the longer this document gets, maybe the fewer people are going to read it. And so I would say that information density does remain high per page, but that there is still something that we can do for the final draft if that gets adopted and approved, that we can work towards having a more accessible final document available afterwards. So that's just me really trying to close the loop on that. When I came in April, those were the comments I wanted to show you where they were incorporated and where there's room for improvement. And so I'm happy to take any questions that you have
Vice Chair Damon?
this in particular.
Hi, Michelle. And yes, I just want to state for the record, I remember responding as chairman and inviting you to speak on this very document and this topic. And I do appreciate the presentation that you gave in April. And I do appreciate very much the commission's feedback on the readability of the document. And so I just want to point out for
I
the
don't
record,
see any questions.
So I just want to point out, excuse me, that the commission did give their feedback, and this was presented to the commission, but there just wasn't much brought up.
Jenna, do you want to jump in with a little bit of ADA background?
I'm sorry, there seems to be a delay, but I'll stop my statement here. Thank you.
Can everyone hear, Zach, can everyone hear me? I guess I should be asking. Brett,
I
Michelle?
can hear you.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
can
I
hear
can hear you.
Zach, but I don't
Okay.
think others could.
Okay, Michelle, can
I
you
can hear
hear?
that.
Brett, can you hear?
Yeah, I don't think they can hear you accurately.
I don't think that Michelle or Brett were able to hear Zach's comments.
Okay, so Zach, no, we don't want to ignore you. I'll let you go ahead again to state what you just said.
Yeah, no problem. I just wanted to thank Michelle for the presentation, and I wanted to state for the record that yes, that's in fact correct. I did respond to Michelle's inquiry in April as chairman to have her present this particular document to the commission. And then once we had reviewed it as a commission, the only things that were brought forward at the time was readability. So then once we had talked about the document and that presentation had been made, there was nothing at the particular meeting in April that was mentioned specifically about language and how it was written, mainly only the readability. But then work then did start with the Commissioner Conrad as well as others on language, but that was not until after that presentation was made. So just want to point out that Michelle did present and I appreciated the opportunity, and commissioners did chime in on the document back in April. Thank you.
No problem. Commissioner Solomon?
Yeah, I think there's just a slight sort of slippage here, which is we couldn't really talk about the substance of the document until we knew that it was accessible to everyone. So we didn't really get out of the gate on April 30th because we hadn't been presented with a document that we could all process. So that did set our timeline back, and the fact that we didn't get another consultation until a number of months later. Again, I do want to remind everyone, Commissioner Ghazi Edwin was checking in with us, but didn't have a whole lot of information at various points. It was just more like we're in discussion around these points. I continue to, flag these issues but I do think that what was just said was a tiny bit misleading in the sense that there were no questions because the document itself, we didn't get time or opportunity to discuss its substance because we were still hung up on accessibility. So just like to flag that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Conrad, go ahead.
Yeah, and just to put it another way, as the person who actually experiences the accessibility barrier, I remember, seeing that this presentation was coming up at our meeting in April and opening the document, before the meeting, a couple days before the meeting, and realizing I can't read it, can't read any of it. So, you know, that, and then we were consulted in the meeting about how to make the document more accessible and not its substance. And then not consulted again for several months. So an alternative was provided to me, so I did receive kind of the text-based format. But I just share this as kind of an illustrative example of when you don't have technical or physical access, you can't participate in the creation of ideas or of vision. And this is partly how this has gotten delayed and how people with disabilities are excluded over and over.
Commissioner Conrad, thank you for your feedback. I do second that.
All righty. Next we have Jenna. Jenna, take it away.
Hi all, this is Jenna speaking. Are you able to hear me okay? Great. I really appreciate given the opportunity to be here with you all tonight. I know we haven't had too many opportunities to kind of touch base with one another, so I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to speak. A lot of what I was going to say about the ADA and the comprehensive plan was kind of already said with what Brett started the conversation with, just in terms as well as what Aisha had stated earlier. I think the city really does want to have it shown that we intend to include accessibility and we want to go above and beyond by utilizing words like universal design and how we incorporate accessibility within equity in general as well. And I do want to highlight your concerns about accessible documents in general across the city, as well as accessible websites and platforms that we use here. So right now, as Michelle mentioned, there is kind of a push towards this new rule that's coming out from the Department of Justice that will be issued for April 24th of 2026, and that is about accessible web content. And so up until this point, we didn't really have firm guidance on what accessible web content meant. And so within the city internally, we are doing an audit to see where all of our platforms exist right now, how are they when you're navigating with keyboards and so on and so forth, as well as what our document authoring process is looking like. And so moving forward, we're working on trainings as well as other opportunities to reevaluate our platforms to ensure that there's greater accessibility, just website-based and document-based, so that this problem does not happen again. And so I really appreciate being given the time to speak about that. And I really hope if you encounter specific issues with apps or if you have any priorities like the comprehensive plan or other documents as they're being released, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is jtrong, TRUONG, @a2gov.org. Feel free to schedule meetings with me. I am really hoping to get more points of contact with you all as well beyond the commission meetings and have opportunities to work with you all moving forward. So yeah, I really appreciate the time to speak today.
Thank you so much, Jenna. Chair Keeler, I'll take it to you.
Larry, I think you're muted.
I am. I was. It takes my phone a couple seconds. It likes to mute me and then take us a couple seconds to unmute. So I guess in the interest of moving the meeting, if there's any urgent questions, I guess you could ask them. If not, we can move on to the next presenter. Any questions for them yet? Any leftover questions for them?
I don't see any hands raised, no.
Okay, next is the Library for the Blind and Physically Handicapped report from Katie Munklitz. I always just call her Katie, so I always forget how to spell her last name, how to pronounce her last name too. But
no worries at all, Larry. I don't ever expect anybody to pronounce it correctly. I know it's tricky. But thank you all for having me. I'm just going to update you all on a couple of things that are going on at the library right now. We have some upcoming events I wanted to tell you about. We have a sustainability forum called New Initiatives for a New Year, Paving a Path for Sustainability Progress in 2026. That is on Tuesday, January 27th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the downtown library. The start of a new year offers us the opportunity to reflect on the past and affirm our values and intentions for the future. Join Ann Arbor's Office of Sustainability and Innovations, along with other community leaders, for the first session of the 2026 Sustainability Forum series to explore exciting new sustainability initiatives, programs, and commitments coming to Ann Arbor in 2026. Come to learn, ask questions, engage with community members, and cultivate your own sustainable resolution for the coming year. We also have an author event coming up with MacArthur Cotton and John O.B. about Mississippi's black cotton. That is on Monday, February 2nd from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the downtown library. Join authors MacArthur Cotton and John Obi for a conversation about Mississippi's Black Cotton, a powerful new book highlighting the often overlooked young Black activists who fueled the civil rights movement. Cotton reflects on risking his life in Mississippi, the era's most repressive state, and on working alongside leaders like Medgar Evers and Fannie Lou Hamer. He also honors the many unnamed foot soldiers whose courage made change possible. Despite imprisonment, terror, and lasting scars, Cotton's story is one of resilience and continued activism. This event offers a rare, first-person look at the everyday people who made civil rights history. And this one's a fun one. Just for fun, we've got the history behind K-pop Demon Hunters. That's on Tuesday, February 3rd from 6 to 7 p.m. at the downtown library. And this is all ages. So grade kindergarten to adult. Come on by and learn about this history. Join us as John G. Gersafi, Scholar of Korean Studies at the University of Michigan Nam Center, explains key Korean mythical and cultural components that are embedded in the current popular movie K-pop Demon Hunters. This event is in partnership with the University of Michigan Nam Center for Korean Studies. And I just wanted to remind everybody that we would love to have anybody who's interested inquire and sign up about the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Print Disabled. You can find information about signing up by giving us a call at 734-327-4224 or email us at wlbpd@aadl.org. You can also visit our website at aadl.org/wlbpd. We encourage our current patrons to sign up for the Braille and audio reading download service, also called BARD, where you can download your own books with no waiting. You can find more information about that by visiting nlsbard.loc.gov or just give us a call and we can assist you with that, the application or the process. Here are some newer books that I'm highlighting that you can find and download from BARD. First one is called All Consuming: Why We Eat the Way We Eat Now by Ruby Tando. How, in the space of a few decades, has food gone from fact of life to national pastime, something to be thought about and talked about 24/7. In this startlingly original, deeply irreverent cultural history, Ruby Tando traces that transformation, exposing how cult cookbooks, bad TV, visionary restaurants, and new social media have all wildly overhauled our appetites. All Consuming explores the rise of the TikTok food critic, what makes a hype restaurant go viral, bubble tea's world domination, the dream of the modern dinner party, the limits of the cookbook, the history of the supermarket, wellness drinks and where they come from, the rise and fall of the automat. Our tastes have been radically refashioned, painstakingly engineered in the depths of food factories and hacked by craveable Instagram recipes. They've been pulled into supermarket aisles and seduced by Michelin stars, transfixed by top chefs, and shaped by fads. A deep dive into the social, economic, cultural, legislative, and demographic forces that have reshaped our relationship with food, all consuming questions how our tastes have been shaped and how much they are, in fact, our own. And last, we have Generation AI. Why Generation Alpha and the Age of AI Will Change Everything by Matt Britton. In Generation AI, lifelong entrepreneur, futurist, and consumer trend expert Matt Britton explores how artificial intelligence is reshaping society from consumer behavior to education, work, relationships, and health. As the first generation born into an AI-enabled world, Generation Alpha will experience a paradigm shift in lifestyle and career paths. Britton examines the unprecedented opportunities AI presents, personalized learning, advancements in healthcare, and automated consumer experiences and processes. Britton also confronts ethical and societal challenges, from privacy issues and economic disparity to the potential impact on mental health and job displacement. Balancing optimism with caution, Britton offers a forward-looking guide for leaders, parents, and individuals on how to navigate a future where AI drives cultural and economic transformation. And that is everything that I have for y'all today. Does anybody have any comments or questions for me?
I'd just like to thank you, as always, for the all the information you bring to us and all the library events you bring out.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, next it's the report from the
Disability Network with
Disability
Andrea
Network. Disability Network. Wayne Monroe and Livingston. I was trying to figure out which Friday they went in, and that's of course Andrea Henry.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, Disability Network, Washtenaw, Monroe, Livingston. Just want to highlight a couple of things for you today. First, I want to let you know that our virtual theater is back for winter 2026. Stay warm while connecting with friends and flexing your acting, improv, and movement muscles by playing games, writing skits, and enjoying a blizzard of good times. Ages 14 plus, all experience levels are welcome. That's every Thursday from 3:30 to 4:30, now through March 5th. Those sessions are via Zoom. So no need to go out into Old Man Winter. You can contact Robin at 734-889-9380 or robin@dnwml.org for more information and to get connected to virtual theater. Secondly, we have a Delishability cooking classes that are also back for winter 2026. Those will be on site in the Ann Arbor office starting February 4th, running through April 29th. No class March 18th. Those are Wednesdays from 12:30 to 2:30. The session is themed sweet and savory. Attendees will be baking muffins and making smoothies, featuring a different recipe each week, getting hands-on training and experience learning cooking skills and healthy eating habits. Ages 14 plus, all abilities of kitchen and cooking experience are welcome. Registration is required as it is $5 per class, and registration is required by the 3rd of February. For more information on that class, you can call 734-889-9010 or contact Dana at dana@dnwml.org. So that is all I have today, unless anybody has any questions or
I do not see any questions at this time.
Perfect.
Well, thank you, Andrea, and as always, your report was pretty inspiring.
Thanks, Larry.
So
Thanks.
next is me with the Partners in Access Committee. And we had Rob, and we had Commissioner Packard, Commissioner Keeler, of course, and we had Commissioner Ackenbauer, and we had Commissioner Packard there for a little bit. And we discussed, oh yeah, Commissioner Mozak, yeah. And we discussed a little about forming the bylaw committee, but that it has to be done, but we just brought it up to remind everybody. We also discussed having more communications between us and the library. Since they're early enough, we can maybe get some accessibility things built into there, like the yellow line we were talking about on and off, and the yellow strips put as the new library is being built. And I had heard no more development at that time on the social media network that we want to put up. And I still haven't heard anything about the 3rd Street steps yet, but I continue to follow that up because last I knew that was a project that was actually turned over to the city, and it's got its time limit, but I don't know what time that is. I don't know when it's going to come up. And I'm going to bring up possible committee and recruiting activity chair people. I know though that the recruiting chair that I was thinking of, which which I'll cover in the next report, one of the people isn't here that volunteered to do that, so I'm probably going to have to table that. And I'm looking for a community chair for the a new chair for the PIA. And finally, I think the photo session, and we included the people on Zoom, and it worked out just fine. And turns out I gave you the 2025 report because I looked at the date and it was 12/25, and I didn't give you the 26 report, but that's pretty small. And we mentioned Ann Arbor Inclusive and getting and Kathleen is maybe interested in hosting that. And we also were talking about having bus announcements for drop off. Okay, I'm trying to read my own writing. For drop off, more for drop off locations. I got to think about what that was, but for drop off locations, I think. Yeah, go ahead, Rob. What was the thing we had for the bus drop off? I put bus drop offs down there.
Commissioner Packer, can you unmute? Sorry about that.
I think I'm unmuting at the same time. I'm not sure, but I think what you're referring to is just to make sure that the bus routes are consistently saying the stops ahead. They often do, and they don't always do. When you're riding on a bus.
I know.
Is that what you're referring to?
No, I know what it was. I know. No. What I was referring to now, I know. As the May 3rd change comes, we're thinking that it might be a good idea to have the bus drop off, announce the new drop off point. I mean, in theory, it's supposed to be Washington and 5th at this point. So if it is, instead of 4th and Labor, instead of saying light transit, it says Washington and 5th or whatever.
Oh yes,
I think that's what we were.
So the idea,
we were going to talk to.
I'm sorry, Larry.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I remember during the discussion, I'm just joining with you, was that when they're moving to a new location, how do we inform riders, users, and why not have that as an announcement on the buses ahead of time? to let people know that there will be a change. Probably the best way of reaching the customer base. I think that's what you're talking about. Thank you.
Yep. Any
Okay.
questions?
One question from Commissioner Conrad. Commissioner Conrad?
Larry, have you ever gotten an explanation for why the buses don't announce the stops? They only announce like major intersections. And the issue that I've run into recently is the advice you're given is to tell the bus driver where you're getting off.
Right.
But that requires that they remember, and they do forget because they're humans and they're focusing on driving.
You know, I have, to be honest, I haven't even thought about it because I'm so used to taking buses that I'll have to ask them about that, or we may ask them about that soon, because I know they don't announce every single bus stop, and I usually know most of the routes I take. I know the announcement before my bus stop, a little bit before, and then I'll remind the driver. But I'll get further information on that.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a basic technology to have, and would make the experience for someone who's visually impaired so much easier than to have to rely on, or, telling the driver and then banking on the fact that they'll remember or having to remind them.
Oh yeah, I know they forget because you're talking to the pretty visually impaired guy here. And I do get around pretty well, though. That's and I've ridden so many of the buses that I just kind of know.
Yeah, well, not everybody does.
Yeah, no. So I will address that. I will ask at the next.
Thank you so much. Meeting. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a long time cause that I've experienced, being legally blind and riding a bus and hoping you can get off at the right stop. And you're right, often they remember, and when they don't, it's a nightmare. Sometimes I had an experience a month or two ago where I thought it was the right spot, but it wasn't being announced. So I got off the bus, and then I think I heard the bus driver say, "Oh no, that's the wrong stop." As we were gone, I thought I heard that, but I had to walk over an expressway while blind in a storm to get the other mile to get where I was going, because I went off the wrong stop and it didn't say it over the speaker. So it is helpful. It is great, and I appreciate it.
Then they've done that.
Yeah. But when they announce it right away, I know we have phones and technologies that we can, but not everybody has that at all times. So,
right.
And I think you're right that to expect bus drivers to remember 20 different people who may have different needs.
No, and yeah, I mean, honestly, sometimes the driver seems stressed about it. She's like, well, you're going to remind me, right? And I'm like, well, no, I can't remind you because I don't know where it is. So it just doesn't seem like an acceptable solution when there is a technology that exists that could solve the problem.
100%.
Any more questions? We should probably move on pretty quick since we've got about half an hour or so allotted to the time that we have.
Yes, the next topic is community engagement, but Commissioner Hawkins is not here. So Larry, we move on to recruiting activity. Take it away.
Well, I have heard nothing about recruiting, but we are soon going to have a new recruiting chair. They're not here. Well, but I'm not gonna put it on there because one of the members that's thinking about doing it is not here yet, so we can't get her response. And so we'll have to get a new chair for that next month. And that's what we got there.
Do we know how many openings we have now and whether there's a requirement for the?
There are currently 2 vacancies on the commission right now.
Yeah, there are still 2 current vacancies, but we have had no
new applications.
To my knowledge, we haven't had no new applications. I guess it's me again for the Transportation Commission.
Yes.
And so in public comment, they addressed again, since it's that time of year, snow removal came up, and they still haven't figured out how to completely remove snow, but there were a couple areas complaining about their snow removal taking a while. And then there was another complaint about the way the new bike extensions down on Catherine are taking place. They're taking out some of the parking areas, and it's becoming very difficult to park in some areas since they're taking a lot of the Catherine parking out and moving people down the street to put in bike lanes. And that's a real big problem. Well, I see that's a really big problem all over the city. It's hard to, we get into that. It's hard to park anywhere and everything like that. So they're having trouble down there with this. And they're having these quick build safety projects, but they're not taking into account accessibility fully. And there's several downtown areas and all for that. And also they say it may not be totally feasible. And I can see that because they're already having trouble with parking areas down there. And I've heard a lot of horror stories about trying to park and drop off and pick up downtown. Okay, then they want to make a cycle tracks in lots of the parks, and that motion removal and most. Oh, and that motion to put in all the cycle tracks in all of the parks failed. And the second motion, the motion to support a bike boulevard, which will involve West Washington, passed. Maybe it should start in 2027. And mounds of snow and a lot of various areas weren't cleared. And that is that report.
Commissioner
Hello?
Solomon, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, so in your report, snow removal and some shortcomings were mentioned twice. How was that greeted by the city, given that these are continuing concerns citywide?
The Transportation Commission keeps saying that they want to improve conditions, and they want to improve conditions by trying to hurry plows out and stuff like that. But they say that it's not totally workable because you never know how much snow you're going to get and how much snow you're not going to get. But they're saying they're still trying to work on a comprehensive plan, but I haven't seen the latest.
I mean, today was kind of an ample demonstration of some of the issues there. And I'm just curious how we kind of move to a more sustainable, optimistic future around snow removal and where that is going to happen, because it's just continues to be an issue.
Well, I know one of the things they're trying to work on is getting more volunteers out, and they're trying to get people like, well, I think we stopped bugging snow buddies because they only did a certain area, but they're trying to get people like that in neighborhoods to voluntarily do it.
But we could start with the streets, right? We could start with the public streets. That is also an issue, which it sounds like was coming up in the
Oh no, that's a huge issue because they say they're trying to work on it as quick as they can, but they've purchased a couple more plows. I do know the city's purchased a couple more plows.
Councilmember, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. I think that these have been kind of ongoing, persistent concerns, especially from folks with disabilities, about kind of lack of clear sidewalks. And so one of the things that I did, and with your guys' help and pressure too, I don't know if you guys remember, but we helped to create the Snow Match program, where first we went to the city and said, can you hire some additional contractors that could go out and specifically help people who might have a disability or an older adults that need help with clearing. And the Snow Match program helps to match people with volunteers. And they did also invest in the last budget season in more plows and more snow clearing. And then the DDA, so the Downtown Development Authority, you know, this is specific to the downtown area, just announced that they are hiring a special kind of a force of DDA workers, and one of their primary responsibilities will be snow clearing, sidewalks, bicycle lanes in the downtown area. That's not to say that that will, comprehensively solve the issue. One thing that I want to say publicly is I often have older adults and people with disabilities who will contact me and say, a plow has just come by my house and put up a wall of snow by my sidewalk. And I encourage people to continue doing that, because then I contact. Sorry, that's my son. I contact community standards and let them know, do not give a ticket. That's my son again, so I'm going to go on mute. But hope that provides help. But I think voicing these concerns are important, especially with the transportation visioning plan.
I haven't really heard the DDA piece, but thank you for that. Thank you for your
just shared
following
last
up
night.
on that.
Yep.
Oh, that's, I guess, why I didn't hear it, because I'll probably hear it tonight.
Yes.
On the snow removal issue, I signed up for the Snow Buddies volunteer, and I don't know if I'm missing the email or if something's getting crossed, but I have not heard any response. I hope somebody is not going with the snowy driveway, because
Was it Snow Buddies or Snow Match, Commissioner Packard? Because
I
there's
think it
two.
might have been Snow Match.
Okay.
It was an
If
email.
you're with Snow Buddies, I think you're. If you're
that's
with
a
Snow Buddies,
non-city
I think you're in the wrong area.
I said,
I'll
because
look
those are
back.
two different programs. The Snow Match one is the one council member is referring to.
And I will email them, and I will help you. But yeah, Snow Buddies is a not city kind of private group, which does great work too for hire. But I will email. Yeah, I will email them. Commissioner.
And I think he was in the wrong. Oh, excuse me. And I think he was in the wrong neighborhood for that. So I think that was a different neighborhood.
Commissioner
That's the
Saul,
Snow
you have
Buddies,
your
but
hand
the other.
raised?
Yeah, it's a more general question for those that are better acquainted with the structure of the city. There seems to be a policy or delay which keeps the plows off the road until a certain point. And again, today, what I was seeing didn't feel like there were a lot of plows out. There was a lot of snow to be removed. Is there some kind of policy that is preventing that from taking place until the snow stops? Is there a way of sort of rethinking this policy? I don't know who the appropriate sort of body would be for this, but it feels like this could be better snow management citywide. And who could we address that, because it does have disproportionate effects on the disabled population?
If I could just quickly give some feedback to that. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Solomon, you're saying, is there a way to alert the city and ask them to prioritize people's residences and areas with people with disabilities and snow plowing? Is that what you asked?
Actually, just citywide. It feels
Citywide.
like, citywide, but it has a trickle down effect of, those of us who have mobility challenges. It kind of exacerbates. But when you don't see the plows out and the roads are pretty rough going, you wonder what's going on.
Yeah, there is a snowplow tracker site on the city's website that will show you when your street will be plowed, and it shows like a geographic information systems map of every road and where the plows are traveling. I will say that I think this has been a particularly wet winter, and we do receive updates of like how hard the city staff is working, like sometimes till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. It's not always perfect and completely done. I think that there is something to be said about, prioritizing areas that we know where a resident may live who's an older adult or a person with a disability. But I would suggest definitely checking out that snowplow tracker website, and I can send it to to Kennedy right after this. Thank you.
That would be great. And Larry, does the Transportation Commission meet tonight?
They do.
Okay. 7 p.m.?
They do.
Okay. Commissioner Conrad, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, this is more a comment about public awareness and snow removal. I know property owners are responsible for clearing their own sidewalks, and you can file a report if they don't, and they can get one warning per season, and then after that they're fined. But for those of us with mobility challenges, when people don't clear their sidewalks, or don't do so after several days and snow is packed down and then it becomes ice, there's just so many more barriers to getting from point A to point B. And I realize like that it's when it snows this much, right? It's hard to get the shoveling done, right? And hard to get it done on time. But I sometimes wonder, like, if people knew that there are people like us for whom just, getting 2 blocks to the bus stop is that much harder because they didn't clear their snow, like if that would make a difference. Because if we have a system where we're just meant to report all of the times when people don't do it, I mean, I would be reporting like half my neighborhood every time it snows. So I just wonder if there's another strategy we can use to raise awareness.
If I could just quickly, now I'm with my other son, by the way. If I could just quickly, I think that's a great point, Commissioner Conrad, and so important. I think it's a strategy maybe that it could be part of the city's public education around snow removal. I think being explicit about accessibility and how it obstructs, it can cause injury, and it's an equity issue, right? And I think that's one thing. And then I think also making city services aware. This is a residence where they frequently have snow impacted. They are older adults. I think that's also important. And I think, maybe even putting together like an educational packet for individuals with disabilities and older adults and saying, this is how you can track the snow plow. This is who you contact to make sure you don't get a ticket. So I think there's several different ways. Hi.
Hello. Okay.
Excuse me, Vice Chairman, I would just like to let you know that we have about 15 minutes. Thank you.
Vice Chairman, that would be you, and I was just going to let you guys know that.
Excuse me, Chairman. Yes, thank you.
So, you'll have Council of Disability Issues, and that would be Matthew Sullivan.
This will be short. The meeting was canceled. The chair and vice chair were both unavailable, so nothing to report.
Well, that saves time. And the chair report is going to be short too, because I'm just starting to wiggle into these shoes. And I saw that we're supposedly scheduling a meeting next Wednesday. Is that going to be we're going to try to Zoom that, Councilwoman Gazi Edwin? Are we going to Zoom that, or did she take off?
That's all right. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that question? I'm having some issue where it's like.
Are we going to Zoom the meeting we're planning for next week, or are we going to have it in person? Or
for the
are we going to do
planning
it?
commission meeting?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I can get more information for you.
Okay. Well, I'm intending to be part of that, and I also.
I'm sorry. Now I know what meeting you're talking about.
No.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm having a meeting with a few of you about what are next steps that we can do together on the comp plan and accessibility. And the reason why I don't email all of you, by the way, is it's a Freedom of Information Act violation. I cannot email all of you. It's like a quorum thing.
No.
But I'm just saying, if anyone wants to be included, let me know. And that's happening 2 p.m. next, I want to say next Wednesday or next Thursday.
Wednesday. And it's next Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's what I
Okay.
got.
Okay. Yep. So just let me
And I
know.
do want to
I'll
be
have
part of
chance.
that. I do want to
Okay,
be
great.
part of that. So,
Yes, I
and
did
then
as you did that.
the other thing that I'm doing is I just put out the feelers to AAATA CEO Matt Carpenter, inviting him to join the April commission meeting. I shot for April because I wanted him to address what AAATA and A-Ride plan to do about parking downtown and about the new bus stop location, the temporary bus stop locations, and because they should know more by then. They don't really know for sure what they're doing at the moment. And he said that yes, they'd probably show up. He said they'd probably do it. It's just a question of when. And I did invite him for the May 15th meeting because those changes are going to happen May 3rd. And that's all I've got at the moment.
Okay,
So,
next is old business.
old
Larry,
business.
you did say, Larry, that the new recruiting and partners and access subcommittee discussion you wanted to postpone because I believe Commissioner Mozak is not here. Was that correct?
Well, for the recruiting one, we could do the chair of the PIA group, though. If we wanted to do the PIA, I thought I heard maybe there'd be some interest. Is this correct? And I think I was picking on you,
Chairman, this
Commissioner
is Vice
Ackenbauer.
Chairman Damon. I don't remember that, but I mean, if we want to put out an ask, and then if anybody who's interested in wanting to chair the PIA could let Kennedy or myself or then we can go forward. Thank you.
Okay, we could do it that way. I asked at the PIA, and I actually put it up for I put it for this month, last month. So. And
Same
it was
for
held up.
recruiting.
So,
Same for recruiting, Chairman. I would
right.
say if anyone is interested in heading the recruiting committee, to please reach out to yourself, myself, and/or Kennedy. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll just hold that issue until we get somebody who actually wants to do it, and we get a few more people. Because at least with recruiting, I think I got somebody that's interested, but they gotta mention that. Okay, so we'll
Larry?
pass over that. What? Yes.
Yeah, and my understanding with the Partners in Access is that's appointed, right, by yourself. It's not one that we have to vote on.
I don't think we have to vote on it. I think we could vote on it but I think it's good to have the commission know. I think it's good to say at the commission meeting who we got.
Yes,
I
so
don't
if there are
think we need to
multiple
vote for the
people
committee.
interested in being the Partners in Access Subcommittee Chair, then the commission will then need to vote on which commissioner they would like to have as the chair. But if there's
Yeah,
only
there's more
one
than one.
individual, then no, a vote will not be needed. But again, if you are interested or not interested, please email Vice Chair Keeler or Zach so we know who is and who's not, and we can kind of have a list or something going. So that way at the February meeting, when this topic does come up, those who are interested in either of these subcommittees can just say yes or no, and the commission can go from there and decide.
I see a vice chair again. I think I'll have to step in them shoes a little more. Okay, the social. So we'll hold that, and next month we'll see if anybody comes in, and we'll put it up on the floor when we got more time, and when we got the people that I think are interested. Social media update.
Yes, hello everyone. Vice Chair Damon here. Yeah, I will be reaching out to Erica Colaney at the University of Michigan. I do apologize to the social media committee that I have not followed up on that, but it's a new year and new time. So, gentlemen and members of the social media committee, look for an email follow-up saying Happy New Year and that we would like to meet with Erica, the head of social media at the University of Michigan, as well as the new communications director. Thank you. That is my report.
Next would be the bylaws discussion. Do we want to? I'm not sure we want to discuss the formation of the committee yet. Maybe we got 9 minutes for the official end of the meeting.
If you like,
go
later, I
ahead.
can send a copy of the bylaws out to commissioners again to review for next month's meeting. That way, the language that you had mentioned about changing can be reviewed by all the commissioners ahead of time. So that way, when we do have the bylaws discussion next month, we can just go ahead and jump to a discussion on the language in which commissioners believe needs to be changed.
Okay, and what I'd like to do, because I think that since we're going to form it, we might as well look over. I think this is going to be I think if we do the whole bylaws, it'll be a fairly long time, and we might want to review other sections. So we'll have to form the committee, and again, we'll have to form that when other people that might be interested. I think there might be a couple other people interested that are not at the meeting currently. And so I think we'll have to just wait and form that. So we'll have to table most of that till next month, but we'll have to start. Well, I intend to want to put it together next month.
Would you like me to email the commission and ask for those who are interested in serving on the bylaws committee to let me know?
Yes, please.
All right, you guys. So it looks like I've got some communications coming to you guys. So please, please, please check your emails and respond. If not, I have.
Yeah, I woke up to a bunch of them. Woke up to a bunch of them yesterday. Any new business?
At this time, we currently have no new business outlined on the agenda. Does any commissioner have any new business for us at this time? Seeing none, we have no new business.
Okay, how about the communications? Any communications? I've got one to start out, and the communication is that tonight at 7 p.m. on CTN is the Transportation Commission meeting. And that goes from 7 to whenever, and I will be reporting on that next month. That's one of the ones I'm keeping. So,
Here,
any
Vice
other
Chair
announcements?
Damon, you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you. Be very brief. I will mention this, but I will mention it again as it gets closer. Voices in Action Self-Advocacy Day, April 15th, 2026. It will be in Lansing at the Michigan State Capitol, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., put on by the Michigan Developmental Disabilities Council and the Self-Advocates of Michigan. Hopefully all of us can be there as well. Thank you.
I'd like to try being there. Any other announcements? Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make a motion.
I can second the motion, Sam.
We need a second from the floor. Well, this meeting is almost officially adjourned. And I'm trying to remember the. Oh yeah, I guess we should vote.
Yeah.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Say aye.
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 Aye. All right. In that case, we adjourn. And